Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Mentors Guildcast. I am Six Keys and I'll be your host today. And I am joined by mentors Faye.
Hello, I'm Faye.
Lorena.
Hey everyone.
And Marco.
Hey everyone. Hi.
And today we are going to be talking about our first impressions about the recently revealed Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the next game in the franchise. Yay!
Woo!
But before we get into that, how is everyone? What have you guys been up to?
It's
Doing
been
okay with the, lockdown and everything?
Yeah, that's a whole podcast topic in its own. But
I know.
I'm hanging in there. I hope you're all hanging in there too.
Yeah. It's pretty complicated, but we survive, I guess.
Have you been playing anything?
Personally, not recently, because I've been pretty occupied with the anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been recently playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. Still have to.
Oh yeah, that's also my answer. That's the only game I've played recently, but it's a good one. So yeah.
How many hours have you poured into it, Faye?
So welcome to Now This Is a Final Fantasy podcast. No. My first playthrough took about 40 hours, and now I'm just kind of doing trophies and stuff, and I've stopped looking at the timer because I don't want to know.
Have either of you ever played the original?
Yes, I'm a big fan.
No, absolutely not.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah,
different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it's my one of my guilts from the past, not playing Final Fantasy VII. And
it is from the PS1, so
yeah,
you're excused, I think.
I guess at this point, 20 years afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, you're allowed. I'll let you off personally.
Thank you.
And Lori?
So I also played the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm also guilty of not playing the original. My family didn't have a PlayStation. We had very kind of minimal gaming systems as I was growing up. I didn't actually really play until I could buy my own console. So I'm really just been going through my backlog. So I played FF7. I played God of War for the first time, which was really good. Now I know why everyone loved it so much. Or? So the Dad of War, where you're.
All right.
That immediately. I still need to play that as well.
Good.
I actually own it, but I have not touched it. So.
And then Horizon Zero Dawn is next on my list.
Ooh,
I want to play that so bad, but I have to wait for the PC version.
Ah.
Yeah,
it's coming though, isn't it?
Really late, so I have quite a backlog of exclusives.
You're in for a treat with Horizon. It's like AC on turn on its own, because present day is sort of like the past here and that. Well, not gonna spoil too much, but it's like for AC fans, Horizon Zero Dawn is a pretty nice game.
Well, LA is on lockdown through July, so I have some time.
The only silver lining is at least we have video games.
It's true. And then aside from that, I think some of you know about the Pentel projects.
Yes.
Yeah. So the first round went off pretty successfully. We had over 80 people sign up.
Oh, wow.
The second time around, I think I need to set another deadline because I've had just a handful of new people sign up, and I had a person sign up again. They had a Pentel assigned to them, and they wanted to go again. So I might try to do an abbreviated application so people can just re-roll themselves in it again.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've had a few back and forths with my pen pals so far. It's been really nice.
Good.
So is it
it's been fun.
Physical letters or email?
So the person I got who wrote to me was over email, but then the person I'm going to be writing to is going to be physical. They haven't given me their address yet, but we've chatted a little bit, so both, which is pretty fun. So it's been really nice.
I saw a lot of people wanted to do written letters, but I didn't want to give out an address to anybody because I was like, I don't know who's signing up. And then for just the sake of making sure people are safe, I figured it was easier for them to chat over email first and see if they wanted to give out their physical address.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the best way of doing it. I'm glad you did that way.
So I was like, I need to think about safety first.
Yes, wise idea.
Is this something that people can still sign up for?
Oh yeah, it's just an open application. So I'm going to post again on Monday to include the abbreviated application where if you've already signed up and I have a full application for you, you just let me know that you want to sign up again. But the full application is still up there. You can fill it out anytime.
I can post the link in the description to the original post, so people
check
who
out the
want to sign up,
description.
they can check it out.
Yeah, and that'll be on the Mentors Guild Twitter. And then, Laurie, what is your Twitter, just in case people want to go there and check it out directly?
So my Twitter handle is LorieO, LORIE_O. It's pretty simple to find.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, sign up.
And we also, Marco already mentioned that Access The Animus is celebrating its 7th year anniversary. That is a long time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
woohoo!
Oh yes, we're getting pretty old, or we can consider us like a 7-year-old kid. But yeah,
I know.
Child is growing up.
Yeah. No, it's been it's been a long time, and we're actually super proud that we're still doing this, and with such a huge community of fans following us. So we to celebrate this, we have prepared an entire week of content that is still running at the time of this recording. And every day we've had different kind of content, ranging from plot related articles to unboxing of collectibles, like the huge Animus Altair statue by Pure Arts. And one of the things that we are most proud of is what we call the Assassin's Creed calculator, which is basically something that we created for both new and hardcore fans as well. It's basically a tool that tells you sort of like a recommended order in which you can consume all the kind of story-related releases of the franchise at your pace and by your own choices, so you can decide what kind of releases you want to consume, like books or comics or movies. And so yeah, we're trying to just like have a big thank you to all the fans that have been following us through different kind of content for all of them, basically.
Yeah, it's been so good to see.
And I even saw a post, a contest of sorts, where you're already giving out as prizes codes for Valhalla when it releases.
Valhalla, yes. Yeah. Basically, we have launched like on the first day when we announced our anniversary, which was on May 11th. We launched the contest for the standard edition of the game for any platform that the game is going to be released on. And that was like the reaction to this giveaway was incredible. Like, I don't think we've ever had that kind of buzz around the giveaway like this one. And I guess this is also sort of like a metric to have an idea of how excited people are about Valhalla. And yeah, it's incredible. Like, the number of people that try to participate in it was super nice. And the question was about the name of the creative director of the game.
I wonder who that could be.
So, yeah.
Mystery.
I did see a lot of like joke answers to that. It was quite funny.
Yeah. And like I also mentioned on my private on my Twitter account that basically the actual reason why we had that kind of giveaway, it was basically to see how many ways you can butcher Ash's name.
Oh my god, the poor guy.
Yeah.
He's become a source of your entertainment now.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and see if I can like make a picture with all the different variations of Ash name.
Oh, I bet he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm
He's a
sure
very
that-
good sport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. Yeah.
Ashraf Kenway.
Oh, I kind of love that.
Ashraf
Ashraf
Kenway.
Kenway. Yeah, that's our man. So you said it's
But-
been
but-
7 years since Access The Animus started. Like, what was like the first game you kind of covered? Because even though I've been around since the first game, I can't remember like a time before Access The Animus.
Oh my god.
So, so 7 years is a long time, but I'm like, has it not been longer than 7? It's like,
Yeah, that was AC for Black Flag. That was
Wow, really?
2013. So yeah, we started amidst the craze for AC4. So I think the game was already announced or mentioned somewhere or teased when we started in May, and then E3 followed and stuff like that. So yeah.
And you were at first, you were
we-
just an Italian-only fan site. Then
Yes.
you got so big and so popular that you started writing in English as well.
Yeah, I'm so proud about that, and it's a story that every now and then I tend to mention. Basically, we started as an Italian only page and project, so all of our content was only in Italian, and we didn't decide on our own to move to English, but basically because of the pictures and videos and content that we were shared were. When we shared that on social media, people didn't like. They liked what they saw, but they didn't understand what we were posting. Basically, it was fans that asked us to translate our content in English, and so we were super proud to do that. And instead of like making it like our own decision, like seeing that fans were actually excited about our content to ask us to move to English, that was something that we were proud back then, and we still are right now.
I didn't even know that. That is wonderful to hear.
Yeah. That
And
was
the team has expanded over time, right?
yes. Some of the original founders have left the project, and some new faces. Well, not new anymore, but some other admins have joined along the way. And we are now proud to say that we're not just Italian members managing the page. And it's not only men. There's women as well, and we're super proud because they are actually basically controlling us from within.
Oh, we all
the
know that
project.
Gary runs the show.
Yeah. Sarah and
Really
Serenita are
good.
running the show basically, and we basically
From
follow.
the shadows.
Yeah,
It's what
as
we
you
like
We
do.
to
work
hear.
in the dark to serve the light.
Absolutely. So
How many are you?
there's 6 of us at this point. There's Sari, who's working as the webmaster. We have Serenica, who is basically writing plot related articles. We have Stefania, who's handling the Twitter account and also translating, especially the articles from English to Italian and vice versa. So she has to bear with us when we write like the huge articles. And
Oh, I bet. Wow.
yeah, it's tough. And then we have Mathieu, who deals with all the collectibles, and he's a huge collector
Oh, I know.
himself.
I've sent him a
Yeah, I've
few
seen
things.
some of his photos.
And then we have Hephaestus, who is another writer for some of the plot related articles, and then there's yours truly. So
Just
yeah.
this guy here. You know,
Yeah,
he's
this
alright.
guy. Then
This
We put up with
whoever.
him.
Marvin.
Marvin.
Yeah, and then
As
there's Marvin.
people tend to call me now. So yeah.
There we go. Good old Marvin.
It's very impressive, though. Like, congratulations to you guys. That's so much
Yeah, I
work.
mean, it
Thank,
sounds.
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you. Really.
It's like a full-time job.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we are, but it's not a job. Like we always do that out of passion. So you
Yeah, of course.
really
Half the
feel
projects.
It's just
you.
the level of care that obviously goes into arranging all of this.
Oh yeah,
It's really
absolutely.
impressive.
Yeah.
So congratulations on making it for 7 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you
and
so much.
7 more
Thank
years,
you. Oh man.
maybe. Yes,
Oh wow. Yes.
we can only hope.
See where we are in 7
Fingers
years.
crossed. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So, should we get into the actual topic of the day, which is, of course, Valhalla?
Yes.
Yes.
It was revealed a few weeks ago, and as the name would suggest, the game is, of course, about Vikings and takes place in both England and Norway in the 9th century. Our hero is named Eivor. He or she is the leader of a clan and has a pet raven named, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Sunin.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
that is
correct.
The game's creative director is Ashraf Ismail. Sorry to
Oh no, you spoiled
spoil your giveaway.
No.
Oh no.
Who previously worked on AC4, Black Flag, and the narrative director is Darby McDevitt, who wrote AC Bloodlines, the PSP game, AC Revelations, and Black Flag. So, how did you guys feel about the reveal of the whole thing? Like, of course, the very first way we heard about the new game was this art stream. How did you feel about that as a way to reveal a new game?
Actually loved the art stream. I think it would have been fun anyway, but obviously with the context of everyone kind of being online more than usual because of the world, everyone just got super into the stream. Because it was 8 hours long in the end, was it?
Yeah.
The stream? Yeah.
It was
I was
very long.
expecting I'll dip in and out, but then I just ended up glued to my screen for 8 hours. It was really fun watching along with everyone else. And I think that
It
kind
was
of
really like a long-term strategy building up.
Yeah, but I think that sense of community, watching it with everyone else, made it really memorable and really fun. More so than I think most of the other reveals for the games. So I really enjoyed it.
I personally thought it was a very nice way to reveal a new game. Like really just building up this the reveal itself and getting people hyped. And of course, then we got the actual trailer, the cinematic trailer, which we didn't get for Odyssey last year. I mean, in 2018.
Yeah, surprise.
It's nice to see a CGI trailer again.
Yeah.
And I guess the team must have been proud about that to use that as a first beat of the campaign, because usually, at least recently, the in the past few years, the CGI trailers were usually released mid-August or something like that. That was the case for Origins as well. While the early games had the CGI trailer right at the announcement.
Yeah, one thing I like about the CGI trailers is that they always kind of tease things that we will see in the actual game. Like, of course, at the end of this one, we got the return of the hidden blade. It was like this big moment.
Yeah.
That was actually really exciting watching that. I know some people were filming like reaction videos, and I was like, oh, why not? I'll do a reaction video. And as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is great. But I was like, oh, my reactions, I don't feel like I'm reacting really. But then when the hidden blade came out, I did make like the dumbest gasp ever. So it worked. I don't know if I'll ever share that reaction video, but there is.
Please do.
I mean, now you mentioned it, so you have to share it.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Well,
them's the rules.
All right. I resigned myself to this, but yeah, like it was a beautiful trailer. Maybe not my favorite, just because the kind of like the combat and that angle of it is not usually what I go for with AC. It was a good trailer, but then the end and kind of the last minute or two was really beautiful. And yeah, that little shock with the hidden blade, I think everyone was pretty jazzed about that.
And the trailer had a few let's say Easter eggs or like connections to the other trailers. Like there's the moment where the Vikings are on their ships is similar to Ezio going on his ship in the Revelations trailer, and also the hooded man shown in the trailer for Valhalla is similar to Altair appearing in the Revelations trailer. So it had
I definitely got Revelations vibes from the whole thing.
Yeah, I had the vibes, and I didn't know if it was just me because I really like Revelations, but then seeing everyone else being like, it's just like that, I was like, oh, good, it's not just me.
And the music itself also, I don't know, it kind of had this Woodkid vibe.
Yeah, I was into
Who
it.
did the music for the Revelations trailer, of course.
Yeah, I already feel bad for saying it's not my favorite cinematic trailer because the more I think about it, I'm like, man, it was good. They're all good. You don't have to pit them against each other. Every
And of course,
trailer is good.
it is like, everyone has their favorites.
And everyone's favorite is Revelations because it's
Yeah.
the best one. Next topic.
I
One of the
so
best
expected you to finish that.
I feel a little bad for saying this, but I wasn't as excited by the CGI trailer. And I think a large part of it is that I've been watching the show Vikings, so a lot of what I'm seeing is very similar to what I've already seen in media. Like, I think it's going to be different when I see actual gameplay and can get excited for the game, but just seeing it like visually, I'm like, this is very similar to stuff that I've seen before. I think the most
really
interesting
good
part
point.
to me was the Hidden Blade.
That is a good point.
They did have like a big emphasis on combat. Like, we didn't actually see much assassin stuff yet.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the raids, and I really hate like the battles in Odyssey where it's like one army against another. Like, that's my least favorite part of the game. Like, they're probably coming back.
Yeah.
That is a good point about watching the show Vikings, because I think a lot of the discussion, aside from the excitement of a new AC game, is kind of comparing it to a lot of similar themed media, and it made me realize I have never seen any of these, because there's the Vikings, there's the Last Kingdom, I think there's another one. I've never seen any of them, and I don't know whether I should stay that way and be surprised with the game, or actually get some kind of background knowledge down before Valhalla comes out.
Vikings is
Because there is
very,
a
very
lot
good.
of selection.
But it's up to you.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those shows either, but that's actually a good point. Like, do I want to be surprised?
But at the same time, you might get into the setting before. Instead of going blind into the game, maybe knowing about the setting and like the main historical characters, it can help you getting a grasp immediately while you play.
Yeah,
so
that's my
it's a
decision
nice
right now.
approach.
Because before Black Flag came out, I actually really, really, really hated pirates. I had this very like childish hate. Like, I don't like pirates. I don't care. And then Black Flag completely turned me on my head, and now I'm a massive pirate enthusiast. So while I don't hate Vikings before Valhalla, I'm wondering if I should just let the game make me love them, or try some of these shows
that's
out.
also true.
Maybe Vikings will be the next pirates for me,
So,
and I'll just become a Viking enthusiast.
one of the reasons why I've been so enthusiastic for female Eivor is there is a female character who's a shield maiden in Vikings, and she is awesome. Like, if I could play a video game as her, I'd be so down. I'd just like throw money at them, be like, yeah, let me play as her. She's cool.
I feel like you've already sold me on the show now, so maybe I will watch Vikings.
That's actually something that I wanted to hear your thoughts on. Is just like in AC Odyssey, we will be able to choose our gender at the beginning of Valhalla. And while the devs have confirmed that this time both male and female Eivor are canon, which is quite interesting, we haven't seen much of female Eivor so far.
That is true. Yeah, I guess other than kind of the setting and the initial excitement, this has been one of the biggest hot topics about this game. And I think it will continue to be so until we maybe see more of female Eivor.
Yeah, that's my biggest
it's definitely
gripe.
something worth talking about.
Yeah, I think
It'll definitely be interesting to see how they handle the whole both are canon thing, because Eivor is, of course, and actually, like, the name Eivor is female specifically.
Yeah.
And of course, with the last game, we had the kind of similar problem that Cassandra was confirmed to be the canon character after the fact. Like, Alexios got a lot of the spotlight in the marketing, but then she was revealed to be the protagonist, or the canon protagonist, in like the book, the novelization. And it was a bit strange how that was handled.
It's going to be interesting this time, because I would trust Darby McDevitt not to. I mean, he knows, and he's been part of the franchise for I don't know how many years. So if he mentions that they're both canon, there must be a strong reason. Which, by the way, he mentioned that they will reveal it only like with the game, so I don't think it's gonna be mentioned directly throughout the campaign. And also, it's going to be again interesting that the tie-in novel for this game, I'm not sure that it's going to be about the events of the game, because the writer Matt Kirby, who was the writer for the Last Descendants novels, he mentioned that it's an original adventure that is connected to the events of the game, but not. He didn't mention that it's about the events of the game. So,
that's interesting.
It's interesting, but at the same time, for fans that
Yeah.
really into the chronicling of the game, and like for posterity, who was the actual character that lived in the 9th century and led the Viking clan to England. It's interesting, but in another way, let's say.
Yeah, I think where I stand with it all is that my preference would just be to have a single protagonist, and ideally a female one. The fact we have a choice, I'm like, oh, that's fine. But in terms of one being canon over the other, I always thought it was kind of strange that with Odyssey they did. Obviously, you're going to have the novelization, but they did kind of proclaim one as canon, because I feel like if you're going to have the choice, you need to kind of respect the choice. So the fact that Darby has said, oh, they're both canon, don't worry about it, we'll get to that later, I'm like, okay, good, because
it's
saying beforehand, or even because with Cassandra, it wasn't very long after Odyssey came out when they kind of declared one as canon. It just kind of, if you're going to have the choice, do it right. Like, you may as well not have a choice, in my opinion, if you're going to make one canon over the other. So I'm quite excited about the fact, this kind of tease that, oh, they're both canon, like, we'll make it work. I'm like, I'd prefer that to one over the other. How that's going to work, God only knows. But I'm excited to find out. In terms of the whole sort of gender choice, that's not where my issue lays. My issue does lay kind of more with the marketing direction.
Same.
But that's kind of a different kind of problem at the end of the day. I think the actual choice as we see it now is, I'm pretty down with it. So
it's interesting now that you mentioned like having some issues with the marketing presentation of the game, because I have some issues on my own about that, because it's visible and to a degree also understandable that the game, like, it's marketed towards like the male character and the Viking fantasy first, and then the stuff for fans later, as it happened in the past. But at the same time, the devs in the interviews are pushing so much to make this game appealable, like to make this game interesting for hardcore fans. Like, most of the interviews are really fans oriented rather than casual player oriented. So there's this sort of like dissonance. I'm not even sure whether to call it dissonance, because like the elements of the presentation are part of the game, and what's mentioned in the interviews is also part of the game.
Yeah, it's definitely nice getting both sides. I think kind of my kind of curve of excitement has been like, okay, they're focusing on the male protagonist in the trailers, and they're kind of focusing on sort of the Viking fantasy. And I'm kind of like, that's not where I come in, but while I'm unenthused, I'm also not surprised. So I'm just kind of like, all right. But then seeing the devs take the angle they're taking in the kind of more down to earth, like personal interviews and being on Twitter, and they're really pushing kind of the more classic AC aspects, that what has gotten me so much more excited for this game. And I've seen similar ideas and thoughts from other people where it's like, I was excited about the game, but this specific direction that some of the devs are taking is like really, really like fueling the fires of hype for this game.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought was a bit strange is that she has appeared in some of the screenshots, but basically mainly from the back. We don't like, and like her reveal was just as a collectible, and that was the image that her actual voice actress, or I guess they do motion capture, so her actress had to use to actually introduce her character.
Yeah, that is so. It's awful. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. How they handled that was completely awful. Especially the actress, announcing
whose name is Cecily Stenspiel.
Thank you for having
standstill,
that on hand. The fact that she had to kind of announce an exciting role in that manner was pretty upsetting, I think, both for us and probably for her. So that did suck.
Yeah,
And I hope
I
they
thought
manage to pivot a little bit from that in the future, but we'll see.
If I had to
There
put it
was-
out,
I really hope that.
if I had to put it out in very simple terms, nothing that marketing has put out has really excited me. Like, it looks like a lot of more of the same stuff that we saw for years and years in the Assassin's Creed franchise. Whereas everything that's made me really excited for this game has come from the developers directly. Like, it's their interviews and it's other media sites like interviewing them and putting out these like tidbits of information that makes me really excited for this franchise. So I think it's really disappointing to see that marketing hasn't really embraced the product as a whole, because it's going to be a good game. I'm really excited for it. It's just the marketing has not really inspired me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah,
But
I guess
it does feel kind of unfair that the heavy lifting about the elements that long-term fans would be excited about is kind of thrust upon the developers themselves.
yeah,
And marketing is not really focusing on them.
it's good we're getting this stuff, but the way we're getting it is maybe not preferable. That they're kind of having to sort of slide it under the table in interviews, like, yeah, and there's this and there's this, and it's like, this is awesome. Can we have more of this in the main marketing, maybe?
Well, it's
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of all over the place. Like, the whole part of marketing is to, send out messaging and communicate what the product is. And people were telling me after I tweeted about having a gender option that they found out about it from my tweet. Like, that's not how it should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm. Because I know a lot of people had issues with how Odyssey handled the balance in marketing. And while it obviously did have issues with kind of a massive focus on Alexios rather than Cassandra, they did make a decently big deal about revealing Cassandra to begin with. I think it was the initial E3 reveal. There was at least some Cassandra in there, because I remember watching it and kind of cheering at my screen, and Twitter was like, oh my god, yeah, look, we can play as a woman, this is awesome. So even though the focus was a bit biased, at least you still had that, like, boom, here it is, isn't that exciting? And yeah, our boom, here it is, was a picture of a figure and maybe the back of her head in one screenshot, which doesn't have the same impact.
On the plus side, it makes me very excited for whatever the product team has cooking, because it means we might get some really good merch this year.
Yes.
I really hope that we will see more of these kinds of like more female Eivor as the campaign goes on, because of course we're still far away from whenever the game will actually release. Like right now they're targeting holiday 2020, but we don't know any more than that. But we still got a long way to go, and I really hope that they will show more of these things that the developers have been teasing about, the like fan elements and female Eivor and all that.
Yeah, I guess we can only hope that those elements are going to be shown more throughout the campaign.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed for sure.
Fingers crossed, we can only hope, is kind of as much as we can do right now. But I don't know how kind of reactionary the marketing team can be with their campaigns, but I can only hope, again, that they kind of saw some of the reactions to the reveal and about how slightly biased the view was on the Eivor gender thing, and maybe react to it and kind of push female Eivor a little bit more than maybe they were planning to. That would be nice, but we'll see.
Of course, they have already teased some new features that will be appearing in the game, like having your own settlement.
Yes.
I'm really curious about that, because we've had like settlement building before, in a way. We had the homestead in AC3, and like Ezio's base in Rome and Mario's villa in Monteregione.
I'm really excited for this. This is like totally my jam.
Yeah, same.
But it seems like it will be maybe a little bit more expansive or personal this time than it has been in previous games. Like, you will be able to talk to the inhabitants, and apparently there's like fishing, and
there's like
you can have like a barber shop where you can change your appearance and all that.
I've already seen a few jokes about how it's like, okay, this is AC. Which AC are we talking about anymore? I can't tell if it's Animal Crossing or Assassin's Creed. And this is exactly what I want. Really, just blend the two together. It's fine. Give it to me. It's what I want.
Yeah. Like I want to water flowers as Eivor all day long.
Oh no, see, I'm assuming that's a joke, but I want that. I want to grow flowers on my settlement, and then I can like weave them into my hair when I go into battle. This is what I
Right?
want.
I'm telling you guys right now, if I can pet cats at my settlement, I'm never leaving.
Oh my
yeah.
god!
Well,
Game of the year every year.
The first screenshot about the settlement actually showed cats.
I know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
still
God.
not mentioned if we can pet them, but
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that in Origins.
I'm
Yeah.
There have
hopeful.
been they've been teasing other kinds of animals so far
Oh yes.
that we don't really know about the role exactly that they're going to play so far, but like some of the artwork that's been released for like the special editions with extra missions and I guess downloadable content, or I don't know. They showed like a wolf mount and like a polar bear or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
previous games allowed you to tame animals. I wouldn't be surprised if that feature comes back.
Yeah. I would hope that to be back because it was also like a fan favorite kind of feature in the past games. So yeah, I'd love that to come back.
And there was something like in those special editions, Eivor he or she was described as wolf-kissed.
Yes, that's the
I've seen that
the
thrown
statue
around.
for male Eivor is called Eivor the male the wolf kissed.
What does that mean? I want to know.
I heard that there is like, of course, in Norse mythology, Odin has two ravens, Munin and Hugin, or however you
Yep.
pronounce them.
Mhm.
But there's also something about wolves. There
Yeah.
are two wolves, but I don't remember their names. So it could be that there's some kind of tie there also to
Oh, that would
mythology.
be so cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting because yeah. You both have your pet raven, and also you can at least call or like have as a mount a wolf. So maybe.
Oh my
We'll see.
god, I love Animal Crossing Valhalla. This is the best game. And even just the fact that our bird is a raven now, called Sunin. I love them. I don't know if Sunin is my good girl or my good boy yet, but I love them. And this is now just a bird petting game.
It's really cool that their name means insight.
Yeah, the
Yes.
name's
Kind of
really
like
cool.
really those like little ties to like Eagle Vision and these kind of throwback to the history. It's really cool.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I will admit that in Origins and Odyssey both, I probably spent 90% of my time just swooping around with the birds, and this is probably no different because the scenery looks beautiful. I really love ravens. Sign me up. I don't know what a Viking is. I'm just Bird Flight Simulator 3. This is my Assassin's Creed now. Yep.
We better be able to do a barrel roll again.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm not buying this game if I can't do tricks with Sunin. I'm putting it out there.
He or she is supposed to have like new abilities because like in Origins and Odyssey, I think the eagle had the ability to distract guards.
Yeah, you could like command Senu to peck people's eyes out. It was great.
Yeah. So I hope that Sunin will also have something like that, and probably more expanded repertoire.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. There should be some additional skills or like abilities for Sunin to distract other guards or like interact in that regard, which will be probably like super interesting with the new stealth elements of the game, I would say.
Also about the combat, what they've been changing. Of course, we don't know about the exact details about how the abilities are going to work in this game yet, if it's going to be closer to Origins or Odyssey. But they have been focusing a lot on how brutal it is, and we have like decapitations now. And I'm kind of wondering if that also extends to like being able to chop off limbs and actually
Yes, you
enemies
can.
having weak points, because it's something that they've been wanting to do for a long time. Like I remember during the campaign for AC3, they had this like these alpha teaser trailers where they showed Connor shooting an arrow into a soldier's leg, and crippling him, and that was like supposed to be a big thing, but then it ended up not happening in the actual game.
Some of
So this is something that they've been toying for many years, but it seems like in this game we might actually be getting that.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the takedowns are pretty brutal. I think probably this sounds like this is going to be a little more gory.
And it would be interesting if we see somebody detects us while we're trying to sneak, and they like run for the alarm bell, and we can just like shoot their leg and cripple them instead of straight out killing them.
I mean, that's both cool and horrifying.
I know. And they kind of showed that in the cinematic trailer already.
Yeah.
Eivor has to battle this big dude, and he like shoots him in the leg or something, and it doesn't take him down because like he's like heavily armored. But it is maybe kind of a hint of what we can expect.
Yeah, it's been mentioned already that some of the guards will have weak points or something like that for you to attack. And yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how you can exploit them before going in for the kill with the hidden blade, for example.
Speaking of the hidden blade, apparently one-hit assassinations are coming back too.
Yes,
I'm so excited.
That does excite me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate
like apparently it's going to be a little bit more involved this time. Like we don't know details yet, but in Origins and Odyssey, it was level gated. You could only one-hit people like 1 to 3 levels above yours. But apparently in Valhalla, they're saying that you can basically one-hit kill anyone, but it's a little bit more, it involves good timing or skill.
Exactly.
And that's fine.
It's been mentioned that you have to do that with the right timing.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I wonder how that's implemented, like if it's a quick time event or like if you have to like to bide your time to and like when the guard is like at the proper moment in the proper position for you to go in for the kill. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, when it comes to a lot of the features where I suppose classic AC features we've been missing in more recent games, like social stealth, single hit assassinations, I feel like I maybe haven't missed them quite as much as everyone else, but the single hit assassination, like every time I play an AC game, and I kind of, one of the more recent ones, and I get to kind of a stealth-ish segment where I'm like ready to quietly take down a group of people, and then it doesn't work out and it's kind of full combat. I always get this feeling of like, man, I miss stealth games and I want to play more stealth games. So the idea, I know they're kind of pushing the Viking fantasy part of Valhalla, which is cool. Not my cup of tea, but this kind of focus on, okay, there's definitely stealth game elements back in. That's really got me excited. So.
Yeah, I totally go.
Yeah,
for
like you already mentioned, the thing that I'm most excited about with social stealth. Like when I heard that, I was like, oh, "Thank you, God."
Sorry, Laurie, what were you saying? What were you saying?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I try to do the forts undetected, and it's so much harder when you don't have that one-hit kill.
Oh yeah, like stealth players go into forts like with the objective of killing all the guards without being detected at all, and especially with Odyssey, it was as that was tied to your assassin damage or whatnot. That was.
And it wasn't even that, because you could pump like 1 million points into assassin damage, and it was still never 100% guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I said like the brutes or like some kind of guards were still not one-shot killable. So it's going to be interesting, even if it's super difficult. But you can do that. Like you can just fine-tune your skills and go in for the kill.
But so yeah, social stealth is also returning for the first time in 5 years.
Can I make an admission? So when was Origins the first game that didn't have social stealth? Or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when everyone was like, "Oh, social stealth," I was like, I don't know what social stealth is." In the way that I was like, "Is it like the thing where you hide on a bench and you blend in?" In the end, it was, yes. But I did spend maybe a year not actually knowing what social stealth was when everyone was kind of up in arms about it. So I'm excited it's back. At the same hand, I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. That makes me sound like such a
How
fake fan.
dare you?
You just feel free to take that as cool right now.
But it kind of maybe shows a little bit about how little focus it has had in recent years. That people would even not know the collective term for it anymore.
Yeah, I guess
Because it was a big thing in the first few games.
I guess it was such a big thing and such a kind of part of the kind of network that made up AC that while I did notice it was gone, I kind of didn't realize it had a name. It was just part of AC. Like I didn't think about it too much because it was always there. And obviously it has become a big topic since its disappearance. And it is exciting that it's come back. I do now know what social stealth is, and I am excited it's back. So I have my own little redemption arc there, but there we go.
So just in case there are people listening who
you should.
don't know what social stealth is, it's when you blend in with NPCs and you can like sit on benches between two NPCs while guards are running around looking for you. And I'm excited because they've mentioned some new features that might be coming, like being able to play dead.
I am so curious about that.
Yeah.
I am too.
And we're going to have manual hood toggle.
I'm very excited about that. For fashion mainly, but I guess social stealth is cool too.
And
but the hood is actually, it's going to play a part in social stealth somehow.
That's the coolest thing.
Yeah, since you can manually toggle it, I guess it's going to make you a little bit more invisible.
Yeah, it has an influence on the detection by the guards. Like if you had the hood on the guards, I guess it will be a bit more difficult for them to spot you.
Yeah, I think it was
maybe like the actual system for social stealth requires you to have the hood or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was Ash, I believe, on Twitter who was explaining specifically the hood and the cloak. He mentioned that Eivor has a cloak as well, which is also exciting just for style points, but apparently both do have an impact on social stealth, which is interesting. And a cloak itself is interesting too, because you don't really get them on AC protagonists that often, usually because they were quite difficult to animate well. But the fact that not only does Eivor have a cloak, which is cool style-wise, but that is also separate to the hood by the sounds of it, or like in combination with the hood. Doesn't sound like it's just a toggle hood on and off, social stealth on and off. It's kind of an intricate system with lots of variables, which is really cool.
Another thing is, of course, that we've already heard at this point who is going to be composing the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And one of the composers is Jesper Kyd, who, of course, is like a legendary composer among AC fans because he worked from the very first game until AC Revelations.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And he's working in collaboration with Sarah Schachner, who worked on the soundtrack for Black Flag and did the soundtrack for Origins.
And
he also
Unity
did
as
Unity,
well.
yeah.
Oh, Unity as well. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they both have quite a large range in their AC portfolio. Just one of them would be very exciting, but the fact it's both of them at once is so thrilling.
And then there's a third composer, Einar Selvik, who apparently he worked on the music for Vikings, the historical series that you guys mentioned.
Which is also very good.
Yeah, like I'm curious since I've never heard his music.
Okay, I think I've decided I'm going to try watching Vikings now.
Same.
The cool Shield Maiden kind of sold me already, but then hearing that Einar Selvik had also composed on that, I kind of feel like I have to now.
He apparently also has his own band called Vardruna. I hope.
Oh, that just sounds badass. I love it.
And he's going to be composing songs for the soundtrack, which just kind of sounds like Witcher 3-esque.
Yeah, it was mentioned that he's composing original songs dedicated to the soundtrack, while Jesper Kyd and Sarah Schachner will be the composer for the other, all general soundtrack of the game.
I'm curious because we've heard about this new feature that's called flighting, which is basically Viking rap battles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's something that he worked on, maybe.
Oh my god, yes. Because when you said original songs, my first thought was like, oh, like kind of like sea shanties, which in itself is very exciting. But yeah, the Viking rap battles, yes, please. I'm already so down with those.
Well, those are going to be interesting because if I got it correctly, basically it's something that actually happened in history, and you have to have like insults while rhyming with what your opponent said. So basically, you have to choose what to answer in order to win the battle. So it's going to be interesting because it will also sort of like explore the character or Eivor, like trying to like make jokes about the opponent.
Oh, I love this. Is going to be the real brutal combat of this game, not like axing and beheadings, but through verbal insults.
Yeah, that's the most brutal part of the game.
Oh god, I can't wait.
It's just gonna be like, oh, he totally nailed that guy.
Yeah.
Single hit assassination right there.
Right?
I'm excited about that. Yeah, I feel like I'm more excited about the kind of non-focus things. Like, Vikings are cool, I guess raids and combat is fine. What I'm really excited about is rap battles and fishing.
Exactly. And watering flowers.
I mean, that's unconfirmed, but I'm still gonna hold hope, you know?
They have something for everyone. That's the important thing.
Yeah. That's the cool thing, actually, about this game, because like it has stuff for every kind of fan, like from casual to super hardcore. At least,
and not at the expense of other stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that's the cool thing about this game is the approach that seems to be different from other games of the franchise. So it seems like the team is not giving sort of like a privilege to a specific area of the community or the fans, but like there's something for everyone, and it's so refreshing in that regard.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this game.
I've also read in a few articles they confirmed that romantic relationships are also returning.
Yes.
What's the point of this game if we can't be gay?
They're supposed to be more involved this time, I guess, because in Odyssey they were pretty much just one-night stands.
Yeah.
And you will apparently even be able to form alliances with other clans through marriage.
Yes, there's going to be arranged marriages in the game.
Whoa. That's interesting.
For political purposes or something like that.
That's a little spicy.
And that will, I'm not sure if I got it correctly, but that will also be sort of like connected to the settlement. So
that makes sense.
Ooh.
Yeah, that definitely gives room for deeper relationships.
And I think it's cool to see these kinds of things because it is, once again, of course, AC historians, they do so much research, historical research, that things that actually happened, like the flighting, the rap battles. Of course, arranged marriages have always been a big thing in history.
Mm-mm.
So it will be interesting that they actually integrate that stuff into this game.
Yeah, gamified arranged marriages is not something you see in every game, so I'm quite interested in that.
Yeah. So are there any concerns that you might have about this game at this point? Anything you'd like to see more of?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would count as a concern because I've actually seen some things to perhaps counter this. But my main issue with especially the last two games with Origins and Odyssey, I really loved both games. I don't have too many bad things to say about either. The only thing that really didn't hit with me was kind of their length and breadth. In that, I never actually finished Odyssey because I found it to be a bit too wide in scope. And I'm at peace with that. I really enjoyed the time I had with that game. But it's kind of given me this fear going on that, this game looks great, but am I even going to get through it all? So my concern has always been about how big these games are going. But I did see, I think it was kind of vague and maybe taken out of context. But I saw some articles saying that this game is going to be a little bit narrower in scope. Still quite expansive, of course, but not as large as Odyssey. And that's exciting to me. So I guess it's kind of a half concern, half relief about that possibly being a thing.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Odyssey, not just the map was too big, but there were definitely missions that just kind of repeated themselves. So they were just like endless missions that I really didn't need to do. I finished most of the story. I finished a lot of the Lost Tales of Greece. And then I literally just have like the very last DLC to do, but that game came out a while ago, and I still haven't finished it all.
Yeah, it's comparing this game to Odyssey. I guess like the same was for me. thinking of going back to Odyssey, or like even just looking at the map, it's a scary thought in a way, because like it's too much. It's too much going at you, or like you trying to face too much content and scope of the project. So yeah, it's been mentioned, but also I think that the tweet where it was mentioned that the project will be a little less in scope, that tweet was also erased. So I don't know if that was
I remember seeing. Yeah, so that's why I kind of want to preface it with like, I think I've heard about this, but it was possibly taken out of context or misreported or so and so. But even just the vague idea or mention of it, kind of even them just being aware that Odyssey was a bit too much sometimes, even if they just keep that in mind, is kind of exciting to me.
It's relieving to me, actually.
Yeah, because I mean, me not finishing Odyssey because it was too big, both in kind of scale and scope. It definitely feels like a me problem rather than the game. The game was great, and that's just definitely my problem that it was a bit too big for me. But yeah, the idea of it maybe being a bit less grand is exciting to me, which is kind of a weird thing to admit, but you know, I think a lot of people were overwhelmed by Odyssey.
I'm definitely like, these days I get more excited about a game if I hear that it's short.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't have the patience for these huge open worlds anymore as much as I used to.
Yeah.
And yeah, Odyssey was too big for me also. I did finish it, but the problem was also that there was a lot of literally copy-pasted content or copy-pasted locations. Literally the same cave where every stone was in the exact same place and the same guards in the same positions. I've heard that that's also maybe something that they've looked at, and that there will be maybe a more handcrafted approach.
Yeah, I think it was mentioned that there's going to be more quality in the locations that are going to be in the game. And in a recent interview, Ash also mentioned that like some of the locations are crafted towards specific features of the game. So some locations are crafted towards parkour, or there's going to be navigation puzzles. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how the design of the game will compare to the past games. Like if there's going to be deserted areas like in Origins where you couldn't do anything, or if there's going to be too much repeated kind of environments, or if it will have like a design of its own.
That's a really good point. I think Origins was really fantastic in how it kind of utilized its negative space. I think probably the one of the things I'm the most excited for with Valhalla is kind of the environment and the settings and the landscape. That kind of a Celtic environment was always my dream for an Assassin's Creed game, and this is kind of as close as I'll get, and I know that. So I'm super excited about it. And yeah, sometimes Odyssey did feel a bit busy. And Origins, on the other hand, kind of really knew how to use its space well. So I'm excited to see what the environment feels like, both in how unique each kind of interactable environment feels, and also just the general scope and vibe of it. So I definitely did like how Origins handled that, and the creative director of Origins is the creative director of Valhalla, so mayhaps it will be more like that. That's what I like to see anyway.
I am concerned, like to circle back to your questions, a bit about not necessarily the modern day itself, but Layla and how she is going to come back as a main positive character after. Well, I'm not going to go into
I was going to say spoiler warning.
What happened too much, because Lori, you said you still have to play the final DLC for Odyssey, but I wonder how the creative team will be able to pull it off, like
That's
how
a
to
very
make
good point.
her likable again.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's gonna be one of the biggest challenges. I don't know how many fans will care about that, because like modern day, it's not always like the most requested feature. But at the same time, for hardcore fans, that's pretty important. So we'll see how that will pan out.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that. I guess concern is a good angle on it, and I'm almost the same. But I'm just really interested and curious, like how are they going to handle that?
My solution to everything is bring back Alina.
Yeah, really. That's just
Yeah.
yeah.
And Sean
yeah.
and Rebecca.
Yeah, just bring back.
Oh, I miss everyone from like the Initiates and before era.
Because we had Sean in AC Gold, which was the audiobook, but he was like not actually there in a way.
Yeah, it
It
wasn't
was kind of
actual
strange that
Sean.
they wrote him in, but didn't actually like give us info on what he's been up to.
Which is both frustrating and kind of like, oh well, maybe please tell us soon. That's what I can hope for. Again, we can hope, and that's actually a big hope. I try not to get myself too excited about modern day because it's easy to be let down, but I admit I would love to see kind of more returning characters.
Oh yeah,
Same.
Please.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad we got to hear from Kiyoshi. I would totally love if they brought in the
Yes.
husbands because we haven't seen them in Guild.
Same.
Oh my god, please.
I'd love.
I haven't read the
to-
comics, so I don't even know who Kiyoshi is.
Oh, but even like back in Initiates. Were you around for Initiates?
Yeah, but I didn't always follow every like letter.
I
and
kind of did.
stuff.
Because I admit I have not read much of the comics. I read the initial Assassin's Creed run. I haven't actually read any of Uprising. Don't know if I will because I've heard very mixed things about it. But it has been nice seeing some of those Initiates characters come back here and there. So yeah, that's where my fondness for Kiyoshi comes from.
Yeah, to give you some context, Kiyoshi is a gangster from Osaka, but he's part of the Japanese assassin cell.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a pretty cool character that's been featured in a lot of transmedia now. So he's appearing like he has a pretty strong appearance in the Assassin's Creed Blade of Chao Jun manga. So it's
okay.
Did I see that that's getting an English release, like an official one?
A French one.
French. It's one step
French
closer.
one will come in sometime in June. I think June 11th. Not sure. And it will be like the first volume, so I think it's going to be like the first 4 or 5 chapters.
Yeah. I'm
You have 3 weeks to learn French.
I was gonna say like French and Japanese are languages I know most other than English, but neither enough to read either of those translations well. So I will continue following the fan translations and just pray for an English release because that manga looks absolutely great. So
Okay, I think it's time to start wrapping things up for now.
we talked about a wild array of
We
topics.
talked about a lot.
Quite a lot.
Some of them related to Valhalla, some of them not at all, but it was really fun.
The announcement was only like 2 weeks ago, and we already have so much to talk about.
It's true.
Yeah, but I expect we'll have more episodes like this. I'm very excited for is it Ubisoft Forward? That's what it's called, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Ubisoft have already announced a digital conference called Ubisoft Forward on July 12th.
Yeah.
And it's been described as an E3 style showcase with exclusive game news, exciting reveals, and more.
Wow.
So I think it will be reasonable to expect that we'll learn plenty more about Valhalla then.
2 more months.
And hopefully we'll have a more timely reaction.
Fingers
podcast.
crossed we can see at least female AWAR, if not gameplay before that. But otherwise,
that's my dream.
that's probably the date to look for.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Well, thank you all very much for joining Faye, Marco, and Lorena.
Yeah.
That was
Yay,
so
thank you
nice.
for having me. I'm glad I finally got to come on this podcast. It was fun.
Yay! And I hope you guys will appear on plenty more in the future.
That's the plan. You can't get rid of me.
I'd be so happy to join again.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay safe, everybody, and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.